this wonderful time. Here I am. Hello. 'Tis I. 'Tis I. Oh, wait. I need glasses so I can see. Elaine Marolakos, Edelson here with Astrology Mojo. Want to help you get your mojo back. I have transits. Wrong way. Those are transits right there of today. We'll get to those in just a secundo. So, how is everyone? Let me just give you a little reminder in case you are not familiar with me and my business. You know, in astrology, a lot of people think that the planets are telling you who you are and what you're doing and dictating terms. No. In fact, it's the opposite. The planets represent. They represent who you are. That's it. They're a clock. Astrology is a clock. It tells you what time it is. So when the planets are making a move, you feel it. When you're making that move, the planets reflect that by way of angles and aspects in the heavens. It is just one small way that this universe gives you as an opportunity to learn about who you are. There's runes, there's tarot, there are empaths and clairvoyants and intuitives. There are astrologers, body workers. You know, you are a body, mind, spirit context, right? So you're, hey, I had that fixed and then it squeaked again. Dean, we're going to have to oil can that thing again. So there's only one thing you really need to be aware of. Hi, Wendy. Oh, it's afternoon where you are? Well, hello. It's morning here. There's only one thing you really need to know and understand, and that is who you are in any moment is who you will project into the next moment. And that means conscious, unconscious, subconscious, non-conscious. Yeah, all of it. So just imagine building your world 1 second at a time. And everything you take, everything you believe, disbelieve, allow, disallow, want to act on, resist, no, deny, is what you put into the very next second. So in order to kind of smooth out all these wrinkles and get clearer on who we are as an individual, as part of the collective, you know, the whole, it helps to break up the patterns once in a while. Hi, Star. Helps to break up the pattern so that you understand what's happening. And in order to do that, you have to first take a breath. I mean, some of the most profound experiences are had just by doing that. Seriously. People are, most people, not everyone, of course, but most people are really into the groove of, what do we do now? Okay, I have my book, I have my agenda, got my checklist. Come on, let's go, let's do it. Now, I'm not saying don't do things. I'm not saying don't be productive. I'm saying that if you are coming to a stuck point in your world and you want to keep moving, hi, Kate. You want to keep moving in a direction that feels true, that is your bliss, your joy, your reason for being, but the walls come up and you can't see what's stopping you, then understand that we can break it down and say, well, there's some karma involved, you know. There's some stuff you don't know that you don't know. There's some stuff that you do know, but you're ignoring conveniently. Oh, let's go look over there because it's less uncomfortable. Right? So all these things happen. And then there's your timing. I will look at a chart and say, okay. And it's kind of funny when I do a reading for some people, well, for most people, but when I do a reading for some people who are right at the brink of having a huge opening, it shows in the chart anyway, by way of aspects and angles between planets and the sun and the moon and asteroids, etc. But when a person is about to have an opening, they know something so that when I mention it, they stop and say, you know, that's funny that you say that. I mean, that's the phrase. That's the phrase that people will say to me. Oh, wow, it's really funny that you say that. Or I'll make a comparison or use a metaphor so that I am not as direct, so I don't push that button all at once, because it can be overwhelming sometimes, when you hear what needs to happen for you to move beyond your stuck places. And sometimes people will say, oh, yeah, I used to do that. That what you just said, I used to actually do that, and here's how it helped me. And I go, great, well, it's coming back. That's why I talk about retrogrades a lot. I find them really powerful because they show you what's coming back. They show you relationships or the theme of things. The umbrella. I had a client the other day who did the Jupiter massive reading. We went back to not just 1995, but 2007, 2008. And I said, and in trying to help her apply what was going on in her life right now. And I said, tell me the overall themes. What were the biggest things you were doing? Well, I was getting divorced. I was moving. So massive things. And I said, what was your main focus back then? And she said, well, basically it was, my marriage was my main focus. I'd say, well, let's call that your career. That was your business. That's what you were doing. And a lot has happened since then. And now she is in a business. And now what are you doing? And she said, well, I'm actually looking for a new job. I go, divorce is imminent. And she went, oh, yeah, wow. I didn't even look at it that way. And I said, okay, so how do you want to look at things? What's the thing that keeps coming around again in your life is the thing that is trying to get your attention, knock on your door, and you're resisting it. Resistance is futile, right? We know that. Say, who's here? What signs do we have representing the Galactic Federation of Astrology Mojo? Who's here? We have Star, Christine is here, Dean is here, Wendy. Who else? Come talk to me. Come fly with me. That is the most delicious decaf dragon red chai. Yummy. And we had a cold snap here in Sedona. It's been raining and I have a sweater on. I'm so happy. That makes me so happy. And my hair is frizzing up already. Okay, wait till monsoons come in the summer. So just to let you guys know, I will be back on Monday. And this Friday is my birthday. And as a wonderful gift, my husband gave to me a writer's retreat. So I am going to be out of town after Monday for about a week. And then I'll be back after that in mid-May, right after Mom's Day. And so we can continue the conversation. But I want to know what is the thing for you that you are resisting? And maybe you don't know it. So let's put it this way. When you have tension in your life, and I mean repetitive tension, is it because you can't get something done? Is it because you the problems keep mounting on the same issue over and over again? You can't heal that wound. You can't seem to get the paperwork off your desk. You can't, like me, you can't seem to, what is it that you're resisting? I resist insurance and financial paperwork. That's just a truth. And the reason why is because I would need to put concentrated effort into learning something more than I don't know that is hard for me. So it's not that I ignore bookkeeping. No, I do it consistently every month. But there's some other paperwork that I just resist. I look the other way and I go, I'd rather do that. Now, sometimes when I give myself the chance to just go do that thing that gives me joy, then I have much less resistance. I have a happier feeling, and then I get to the financial paperwork. So that's what I want to suggest to you. So if you already know, oh, thanks, Christine. Yes, May 3rd, I'll be turning 59 years of age, and I'm ready for the next year. Ready to keep going. Aren't you? And so what is the thing that you're resisting? And if you don't know what you're resisting, then look at the thing that gives you the most, where you clench, where you become tense, where you go, oh my God, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And, I met a business entrepreneur woman once, and she said to me, she was speaking about what's called low-hanging fruit in marketing. And that means the thing that's right in front of you. You pick that, it's easy, you go do it. How most people ignore it and they get a ladder and they want to climb to the top right away. And I think it's not just marketing, it's across the board in life. We tend to sometimes go for the low-hanging fruit and don't want to go beyond that. That's not what I'm saying. Because you want to stretch, you want to grow, you want to read as much as you can. Read things that resonate with you. Read things that are new to you so you can, broaden your horizons and expand your mind. My husband and I watched a show. Oh, but anyway, before I get to that. So this one businesswoman said to this group at a workshop, she said, yeah, I don't do housekeeping. I just don't. My husband will do it. And she made no apology about it. She said, I have other things just because, and then this was 10 years ago that I heard her talk. And she said, just because, I'm a woman who makes a lot of money, it is either expected of me that I will do it myself and hire, get all the good gadgets or hire a housekeeper. And she said, I'm not doing it. I'm fine hiring a housekeeper. My husband said, I'm working at home. I'll do it. And it gave him pleasure. And so you want to look at all the roles that you assume that you don't need to be doing just because they are gender associated, number one, or they are age specific associated, number two, or they are expected of you because that's what your parents did or your grandparents did. And it's not just about housekeeping. It's attitudes and your whole outlook on what's going on in life. Now, getting back to what my husband and I watched, a show on in Amazon Prime called Free Solo. And I'm not going to give it away, but I highly recommend it. The amazing feat, and I use that in two senses of the word, literal and metaphoric, what this man accomplished, young man. If you already know of it, cool. If you don't, it's called Free Solo. And you're in awe the entire time, just in awe of the person who even had an MRI done to see what's going on in his brain to have him be this way in the world. It's fascinating. And so, and this person was so tuned in to his gut feeling, and it's just profound. And he has accomplished something that no one else has done in this world, on this earth. So you want to watch Free Solo. Profound and exciting and exhilarating and very tense and stressful and endearing at the same time. So tell me, talk to me. What is it that you're not wanting to do? What is it that you don't want to get just like, I know someone who says, oh no, this is the busy season for her business. And she says, oh no, here they come. All the people that demand. And I say, but don't you set that up? Free Solo, Alex Honnold, Netflix. No, honey, I think it's Amazon Prime. Yeah. Is where we watched it. We saw it on Amazon, not at Netflix. And I said to this particular woman, well, aren't you setting it up? Couldn't you get help? Well, by the time I train somebody. Okay, well, that can be true. Sometimes you just have to get to the business at hand. But when your whole life consists of by the time I train somebody, you could have trained somebody to help you. And yet, well, then the people I train, they go away. And it's like, well, wouldn't that be a self-fulfilling prophecy if you don't want to have someone working with you? I knew a very spiritual person, head of an order, and who had gone to India, was ordained, etc., and only ever attracted people to her that had to be told what to do. And in her other life, before she was ordained as this minister, at a high-ranking religious position, and I said, what did you do before? And she said, I was a psychologist. And I said, well, then you're someone who's always in control. It doesn't matter if you change clothes, bodies, attitudes about your perception of spirituality. Sometimes we'll use that as a way to say, I know something more, so I need to be in charge so I can teach the people. But if you have a complaint, if you're wanting to move forward, and there's no judgment on any of this, if you want to move forward in life and you can't, then you have to just take a deep breath and say, okay, What is it about my energy, my perception, my thought, my feeling that is creating this stopgap, this tension, this resistance, and where the low-hanging fruit isn't working for you? You say, yeah, here's the low-hanging fruit. Here's the job that's easiest for me to do. But that over time isn't as satisfying. And I'm not talking about extremes. It's like some people will only ever go for what is the easiest thing. Okay, that's who they are. But if you're someone who wants more, who wants to understand, learn, grow, become more so that you can make a contribution to this earth and be who you are on the greatest scale, the one thing you want to do, and I've talked about this before, folks, is you got to let go of the word perfection, or you got to change the definition. And, I used to think perfect was because if I get there, then that's it, and I will be perfect. But what does that mean, really? It means you're finished, right? And are you finished ever? No, never. You are never finished. You keep evolving. So if you're constantly evolving, then what's the next best thing to perfection is try this definition on for size. This has been my new definition for about 10, 12 years. That is, if I am moving toward the thing that I love that gives me bliss, and I am in alignment with my body, mind, spirit in as many moments as possible, right? We create that earthly trinity. Body, mind, spirit. And if I am doing that in as many moments as possible, moving toward my goal, then I'm already in a state of perfection. That's it. It's the best you can do because there isn't any more that you can get done if you're already doing that. And then once you reach that goal, then you say, wow, that was amazing. I just did this thing. I'm in awe of myself. It's breathtaking. It's such an accomplishment. It's such a thing. Do we stop there? No. Given the fact that most people don't live past the age of 88-ish, if people could live to 288, they would go to the next thing that might take them 10, 15, 20 years to accomplish, but they would be doing it. And so you see, this is the thread of the illusion that you think you got to do something between this amount of time and this amount of time, and then you're done. And then you can leave and, secure your slot in heaven. Heaven is a word that can imply many things. Your bliss, your joy. And you can have it right here, right now in your body with this mind, this spirit, this heart, this contribution. And who's ready to go there? I go where you go. Who knows that line from a movie? Dances with Wolves. I go where you go. Okay, so let's look at today's chart. Is this making sense? Anybody want to chime in, jump in, tell me what they're resisting, what they're actually hoping to accomplish, but they can't seem to get there because the wall keeps coming up? And the wall, remember, is just your version of resistance. Now, sometimes, however, a wall will come up because it is universal protection to redirect you. Now, how do you know the difference? Because if you are tuned into your feelings and you try to connect with a person, hey, it's Casey. You try to connect with a person or a group or an organization, and it's never the right time. I call you back. They call you back. We keep missing each other. It's not working. But you get this feeling. And that feeling says it's absolutely okay if you never connect with this person for whatever. Maybe it's in their best interest that they don't connect with you. So whatever it is, you can look at it as, okay, not now. Just not now. Unless you get, amazing information that says evil, warning, Will Robinson, then you stay away. But sometimes people will take a thing as a sign. And I've talked about this before in other talks as well. And the sign is, oh, that's it. I tried, I made a phone call. I didn't get a call back. I'm moving on. Okay. So you want to always check in with yourself. Are you more relieved that the person didn't call you back? Because if they had, then you'd have to go somewhere where you were not comfortable emotionally, intellectually, physically, Would you have to grow, learn, stretch because of that association? So, but remember, as astrology represents, especially the retrogrades, represents what goes around comes around, and your timing, that which you do not pursue will come back. That which you are disconnected from will come back, so that you can then ask it again. All right, am I ready now? Do I want to go forward? Is this what's happening? Is this the real thing? Is this what's true for me? And so now let's take a look at today's transits. And this is for April 30th. Now, if you're watching this in a replay and it's next week, next month, next year, and you go, oh, wow, yeah, this doesn't matter. A lot of what I talk about, and I say this all the time, this is just a small portion. Which way am I pointing? That way. This is just a small portion of what I'm discussing. Most of it is evergreen. It is constant. It can help you to move your vibe and stop resisting the joy that you would like to accomplish. You're afraid of the next level in a relationship. You're afraid of what happens. You know, a lot of people say to me, yeah, I want a reading, but don't tell me anything bad. I'm not going to tell you anything bad. I don't know what your conception of bad is. Here's what I will tell you: what you're manifesting, what you're creating, where the brick walls are that you conveniently inserted into your world so that you couldn't move beyond them. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you what's coming. I'll tell you what the potential is and how you can get there in a much easier way. So today's transit, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, and genders of all types and races of all. Whoopsie. My fingers went spastic. Okay. So what I'm really looking at today, there is Mars as opposed Jupiter right now. So there might be a little tension around. This is why I'm talking about resistance, which is futile. You will be assimilated. Mars opposed Gemini. Mars and Gemini oppose Jupiter in Sagittarius. And so there's the resistance. You want to act on something, but yet you stop and you wonder, do I really want to be doing this? And maybe it needs to get done. And if it needs to get done, then, schedule a portion of it in your calendar. Well, I'll do it in an hour. In an hour, I'll start and I'll work on it for 1 hour. But then what I recommend then to help you through it, little moments in time, you got to take this incrementally, is that to help yourself get through a task, an endeavor, a project that you have to do, it's got to get done. If you really want to see the result of, you want to use dishes, you got to clean the dirty ones, right? So what I recommend is you take a few minutes and you do something that gives you absolute joy. Absolute joy. You watch 10 minutes of a movie, you take a walk, read a book, plant a garden. Not the whole thing, of course, like a little tiny garden, maybe a Zen garden. Just to help yourself to feel like I'm doing what feels good to me right now. I'm doing the things that make me happy right now instead of I gotta. They're supposed to. You gotta wanna. You don't have to wanna. The wanna part comes like, yeah, this I love. I could do that anytime. But then the need to, there is a list of things, and you check your list and say, well, that thing really does have to get done. I need to give it some attention. But before you start it, do something like to pick up the momentum. You do something that gives you absolute joy for a little while. And then you say, now I'm going to go do that other thing. And you'll notice that there will be a lot less resistance and struggle to doing that thing. That's the Mars opposed Gemini. Now, what I also want to talk about up at the top of the chart. Now, if you happen to be a Cancer rising at 12 degrees and your sun is in Taurus, this looks like your chart for today, not the day you were born. Okay, so the moon is in the 7th house. Actually, it's not. It's in the 9th house. So there's the moon, and it is conjunct Neptune. And this way. The moon is so flippy, trippy in my mind. It's so backwards, the camera thing. Anyway, you'll see the moon it looks like a crescent moon, is right next to Neptune and within a few degrees. You see the moon is at 21 degrees. That was this morning at half an hour ago, which is now will be a little different. But anyway, the Neptune is at 18 degrees. And when a planet or a spherical orb, celestial orb, is within 4 degrees of Neptune, 4 degrees of Neptune, that is when 4321 exact. That is when it is its most intense. So there's an urge right now for people to want to connect to something greater, because Neptune, not only does it represent your karma, but it also represents your need. Let me just make that a little bigger. So there we go. Your need to find the magical parts. What's magical? Hey, Leah's here too. Christine puts me on her list of to do. Now you're done. Check that one off. Well done. Hey, Casey, you know what? I got to show you something. Talk about what's going back 1995 to 1996 and then 2007 to 2008. 1995 to 96, Casey gave me this cup. That's right. I call it the Pisces cup. She went to San Francisco and then came back and gave me a gift. So let's get back to that. Okay, so when Neptune, which represents illusion, horses as well, magical horses like Shadowfax, and the connection to healing on some level, metaphysics, ideal vision, creating poetry in life with actual poetry you could be writing, or it can be making your emotions flow in such a way that you feel more connected to the thing that gives you the greatest joy. So how do we organize that? Well, look at that. Neptune and Mars. Why do I keep saying Mars? It keeps coming in. The moon and Neptune conjunct together today and for the rest of the day, making positive angles to Pluto and Saturn. And Pluto represents the core of your being, your collective unconsciousness, the parts of you that really want to wake up. I'm shaking you. Wake up. Wake up, William. Another Braveheart reference. It's time to wake up now, William. And then to Saturn, which sets the structure. Now, Saturn is also a karmic planet and represents the parts of us. Represents the parts of us that want to be in authority, but also fear authority. And but now it's smoothing out now. So if you wanted to start something today, that like not a riot, you know. Yeah, I don't mean like that. If you wanted to start something today that felt like this is a part of your natural flow, and this is what you want to be doing that gives you joy, and it's something that it comes back from the past, right? Because Jupiter is retrograde, comes back from the past and says, I used to do that thing. Or I used to watch these kinds of movies, or I used to believe in a certain thing or way of being, or I used to juice 24 years ago, whenever, or 12 years ago. What happened to that? How come I stopped? Or I worked with crystals, or I did runes, or I used to grow my own herbs and tomatoes in the backyard. Why did I stop? Now, because I say we go in cycles, and sometimes those things will help you to move forward, and sometimes they're a reminder that you're ready for something deeper. Now, I was telling folks last week in a Facebook Live event that I was doing that I was about to go see an energy worker to help me work out some stuff, and it was reconfirmed for me to pay attention to the symbols. What are the symbols that keep showing up in my world? And let me tell you, the hummingbirds are coming out in droves. And I mean anywhere I am. I'm in the kitchen washing dishes. I look up. There's one right in the window looking right at me. And then I'm walking the dog at the golf course. And there's one. I look up. I look up. And there's one sitting in the tree looking right at me. or I woke up after this massive dream the night before. And I had a little journal, and I was writing everything down, and I saw the symbolism, and I still didn't quite understand some of the dreams because I woke up 3 times during the night, each with a different dream. And then I woke up in the morning and I started to remember. And then when I made the connection for myself, what the symbols were in the dream and what they meant, I thought, literally, I had just written it down in the journal. It was in my office. I wrote it down and I thought, oh, I get it. And I look up and there's a hummingbird right outside my window. Now, a person can look at dictionary, like dream dictionaries, or you can go online and say, how do the Native Americans see hummingbirds, or, how are they depicted in mythology, or, and glean some information. If it works for you, great. Don't take it as the end all be all, because it's your experience. What does it mean to you? So if you start to have experiences where things come to you, if you have experiences where things come to you and you see that repeatedly it's the same time of day, the same numbers come, you look at your watch and you go, oh my gosh, it's what. And so, having had these experiences of late reminded me of the magical essence of who we are and our connection to what is greater than ourselves, and how that brings us back to a feeling of, oh, I feel better, I feel happier, I feel calmer, I feel like I could get more done today. And then you tackle those things that you've been resisting. Does that make sense? We just came full circle with the whole picture. And remember, astrology is just a clock. It's just showing you what is happening in your world and how you can go further with it. Now, Casey said, oh my God, I've watched Free Solo like 10 times already, right? It's great, isn't it? It's amazing. And it's inspiring, actually. It's awe-inspiring. And Christine's been having a lot more dreams lately. So it's true that when you start to experience, and I'm going to pull one of my happy cards. When you start to experience something different, you might just wake up one day and go, something is different, or something needs to change. There's an inclination right there. You have that inclination to go do something that's not the typical. And then it brings up, if I don't get to my work, I'm considered lazy, or if I stop to do something else, then I'm irresponsible. And that's all the crap that you tell yourself that is just not true. Would you please, if you know that you are taking care of your body, you eat well, you work out, you exercise, you're doing your absolute best, because if you're in chemicals of any sort, you are numb to a degree. And if that's where you want to be, there's no judgment. That's where you want to be. But if you start to complain about what's not changing, then you have to remove the numbness, the cloud, the illusion. That's what Neptune and the moon is also saying. You got to get sober on so many levels. But once there, then, and you heal through that, because the biology that you are holds it intensely for years. You have a traumatic experience, it's in your body, unless you've been working on letting it go consistently. And then it'll come at you sideways in another way during a retrograde. I thought I dealt with that. When is it done? Is it ever done? Do happy cards right now. Yeah, when you get to that place, like Casey says, if you don't feel like doing something, don't do it. But what I'm talking about is when you have a goal and you really want to get there, but you stop yourself. And that kind of resistance too, because if you've come to, put your wisdom into the world and you say, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, well then, you're just biding time, right? You're not doing yourself a service, but rather a disservice to self and others when you've come here to do something. And I'm not talking lofty. You don't have to win a Pulitzer, okay? It's, maybe your whole gig is, I want to build a garden and grow vegetables because I just want to. And you have this, and you've been doing it for 10, 20, 30 years. As you start it, you stop, you have a dream, you watch all the shows on vegetable gardening and you're like, I could write that book. Okay, what's stopping you? And why don't you? Why don't you plant it? What is the whole thing that stops you? And a lot of times the neurons in our brain, they freeze in a position, and we do the same thing over and over and over and over again, right? We've talked about that. That there are different techniques, EFT, tapping techniques, that you can go through to remove that resistance. And then you can look at farming it out, hiring someone else, delegating tasks. You don't have to do everything in your life. And I find that most women think that they have to do that. All right, I'm going to go with what's the happy, if you're happy and you know it. And to help you get beyond all that, I am giving Jupiter in retrograde readings. And these particular sessions are cover the last 24 years in your trajectory for the next 12 years. And your vow that you've made, contracts that you need to break, and I mean literally and metaphysically, so that you can move on. Sometimes we hold something for someone, a space, a feeling, and then we take it on, and then we keep taking it on and say, oh, it's okay, I'll do it for you. Well, it's okay. You don't need to always do that all the time for other people. So what would help? Let's ask the universe right now, what would help most to release that tension, to move to that place of joy and compassion and service without feeling burdened. Who wants that? I certainly don't. Visualization. Beautiful. So what can we visualize for ourselves right now? What is it that you would like to do? I'm going to shake this card at you. What is it that you would like to be doing? Visualization is a key component in manifesting. So if you can visualize every day, a few minutes during breathing meditation, during, household chores, whatever, you take a break, you have a cup of tea, you just visualize, I am in present tense. I am fill in the blank, not moving toward, because you're already moving toward something. If you're breathing, you're moving toward the next minute and the next moment. But I am a thing. I am that teacher. I am that gardener. I am that political council figure. I am that author. I am that, business owner, profitable business owner. I am that, whatever it is. As you visualize these things, I want you to also anchor it in a feeling, because when you anchor a feeling to a thought, that's when you create a baby neuron that says, yay, it's like baby Groot. You get to go further with it. And it starts to grow, and then you come back to it every day and you go, I am that thing, I am that thing. And those neurons begin to grow. And as they grow, you start to experience new pathways. And I have neurons here in my scrolling list of images. Where are you? Where are you? There you are. There you are. Okay, it's going to take its time. It's spinning. Neuron. Coming to the top. I think we got it. There it is. Neurons. Ha ha. So to get a personal reading with me, you can click on the blue book now button, or scroll if you're on a tablet or a phone, or there's a link in the comment section. So neurons look like this basically in your brain, and they fire electrical impulses. And every time you tell it something, it fires an impulse, and that impulse goes down its little tendrils and creates a baby neuron, and then creates the same impulse. And that impulse might say, it's never going to happen. Not enough. Can't get it done. It is what it is. Why should I bother? And now we want to change that, switch it up and say, you know what? I am this thing. I am this thing. And then go be that thing. A couple of minutes a day. Whatever it is you choose to be. Whatever it is you'd like to be, go be that thing. No, I'm not seeing the comments because I'm not looking. I'm just chattering. Casey's like, yes, it's making sense. No. Let's see comments. Okay. Big leg time. It's 10 seconds, actually. So I say something, somebody comments, I don't see it for another 10 seconds. So yeah, that's what happens with Facebook Live. I don't know why. See it, feel it, be it. You are it. Be you too full. Thank you so much. Just breathing and not overthinking is working so much here. Oxygen. Love is like oxygen. Yep, that's how it works. So you're going to breathe. All right, here's a list of the how-to get what you want in less time. Even though we're so impatient, we want it now. Can't always have it right now. Can't always, because it doesn't work that way on this earth. And many of us who come from other places, know what it's like to manifest quickly. But here, it's kind of frustrating, right? So, but you breathe. You get calm. You get centered. Check in with your body. What does your body need? Check in with your mind. Where are the limitations? What is your mind thinking? Just bring it back to a focus of the present tense. Present tense. I am here right now. This is who I am. And then you fill in the blank. I am this. And then your whole spirit will ignite and want to act things out. The mind will map out the plan, the spirit ignites, and then the body acts it out. So give yourself that time to, you got to get something done that's practical. It has to get done. If you don't take out the garbage, your house is going to smell. It's just get it done. But so you don't have to fight it and resist it. You just calm down. You always come back to breathing. And then you say to yourself, I am this thing. I am a figure skater. I am a world-class figure skater. And, it's whatever. And then you take out the garbage and you kind of skate through the house in a really happy way and say, I can change the way I feel, the way I think, and the outcome, because not only are you doing all this in here, but it creates a vibration, and that frequency puts it out into the world, and that frequency gets bigger, bigger, bigger. And then what happens is you attract to you that promoter, that manager, that person, that friend, that cohort, somebody with information who can say, ta-da, I heard you call. I heard the call and I came running. Does that make sense? Yes. That makes sense, right? That makes sense. That's not making sense to me. I don't know where my vocabulary is going these days. Okay, folks, so I will be back on Monday. And on Monday, it's going to be the big send-off, because I won't be back for another week following. I'll be away. And when I come back, I will be older. I'll be older and wiser. And I'll scan the planets, the globes, all the systems, and bring back some wisdom for you. And then we can share it together. Thanks for being here, folks. Thanks for being you, because if you have any measure of joy that you put into the world for any reason, no reason too big, too small. You save a butterfly that's about to get smashed in the window. You smile at someone who looks sad. You give $1 to a homeless person. The happier you are, the happier I feel. That's the gig. And then it comes back at you. So go, do, be happy. And I'll see you on Monday. Be well. Thanks.